أن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليمًا كثيرا. Allah Ta'ala has mentioned in a number of ayat of the Quran, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسَ أَبَى وَاسْتَكْبَرَ وَكَانَ مِنَ الْكَافِرِينَ. And remember when Allah commanded all of the angels, that tremendous creation of Allah, who Bani Adam, as it relates to their creation, they pale in comparison to those malaika. One angel can destroy all of Bani Adam. Jibril alone, the angels of the mountains, all of those angels made sajda to Adam out of respect, not worshiping him, but tashrifan lahu wa takriman lahu and ta'atan lillah. They all bowed down with the exception of Iblis. He was from those who were arrogant and haughty, and he was from the kafirin. We don't want any of the young brothers or sisters here or any new Muslim to believe that Iblis was from the malaika. Allah mentioned in another ayah similar to the one we just mentioned, كَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ فَفَسَقَ عَنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. Iblis was from the jinn, and he was a fasiq, and he rejected, and he didn't obey the command of his Lord to bow down to Adam. This ayat is referring to something I want to bring to your attention today, and that is, Ya Abdullah, the ibadat of al-Islam are many, but one of the best, most important ibadat in al-Islam is as-sajda. It's the jinn and Bani Adam who refuse to bow down to Allah Azza wa Jalla, to put their face on the ground. There is a surah in the Quran called Surah Sajda. The Prophet used to read it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, every Friday almost. And Allah mentioned in that surah of a sajda, Allahu alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal-arda وما بينهما في ستة أيام ثم استوى على العرش. Allah created the heavens and the earth and everything that is between the heavens and the earth. And after doing that, Allah rose above his throne. Ar-Rahmanu ala al-arsh istawa. There are 7 heavens and there are 7 earths. One heaven, and then the second and the third, then the fourth, all the way to the 7th. Bani Adam doesn't have the ability to contemplate, to calculate, to measure how much it is. It's impossible. Collectively, they don't know how far the Arsh is from the 7 heavens. They don't have the ability to calculate that, to measure that. Allah has an Arsh, and his Arsh is over the 7th heaven. And he is over that Arsh in a way that he knows, in a way that fits his majesty, subhanahu wa ta'ala. The point is, right here on this earth, if you want to be close to Allah Azza wa Jal, then the best thing you can do is to obey him and make sajda to him. To put your jabha and your anf on that floor. The Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, أَقْرَبُ مَا يَكُونَ الْعَبْدُ مِنْ رَبِّهِ وَهُوَ السَّاجِدُ فَأَكْثِرُوا السُّجُودِ فَأَكْثِرُوا الدُّعَاء. The closest you can be to your Lord is when you're sajid, you're making prostration. So when you make prostration, make a lot of dua. The Muslim, like the malaika, have no problem with putting their face and their heads on the floor for Allah. We're not going to put our heads on the floor for democracy, for white people, for black people, for any human being, for money, for a job, for the sheikh, for a powerful man. We're not making sajda to anyone. For those of you who are doing mixed martial arts, kung fu, whatever, you don't make sajda to your sensei out of respect, even if you don't mean to worship him. We're not people who are from China, Japan, nothing like that. We keep our back straight and we only make sajda for Allah. Sajda when you read the Quran. Sajda when Allah gives you a ni'mah, like having a baby, getting you a job, graduating. Sajda when we're in the salat. You want to be close to Allah Azza wa Jalla, then make sajda. As it relates to the ease of Islam that we've been speaking about for all of this time, from the ease of Islam is that you can make sajda anywhere. The Prophet mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَجُعِلَتْ لِيَ الْأَرْض مَسْجِدًا وَطَهُورًا فَأَيُّمَا رَجُلٍ مِّنْ أُمَّتِي أَدْرَكَتْهُ الصَّلَاةُ فَلْيُصَلِّ. The masjid has been made, the earth has been made a masjid. All of the earth, everywhere in Liverpool, everywhere in London, everywhere in Leeds is a masjid. The whole entire earth is a masjid, and it is a purification. If you don't have water, just make tayammum. So any man from our ummah, when it's time to pray, pray wherever you happen to be. Don't say, I'm not going to pray because I don't have time. You could pray at your job, at the university, on the airplane, on the train. You could even pray in your car for the prayer that is from the nawafil. As for the prayer that is wajib, you got to get up, you got to pray and make sajda. As shahid, the whole earth is the masjid. The whole earth you can make sajda, with the exception of the maqbara. You cannot make sajda when you bow down in the graveyard. Nor can you do it in the bathroom, the toilet, akramakumullah, or where there's najasa. And do your best not to make sajda around places where there are asnam. But if you have to, like some of the Muslims in this country, they have to make Salatul Jummah in the church, in the recreation room of the church, and they have pictures. From Darura we do that, but if we can avoid it, we avoid it. Ash-shahidu min al-kiram. The Muslim is going to make sajda anytime and whenever the situation calls for it. He's not like Fir'aun, he's not like the kuffar, he's not like the people who follow Iblis and they think they're arrogant. He makes sajda. But the best place to make sajda al-itlaq is to make sajda in a place that has been designated as a masjid. That's the best place to make sajda, where we are right now. And that's because of the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. إِنَّ أَحَبَّ الْبِلَادِ إِلَى اللَّهِ مَسَاجِدُهَا وَأَبْغَضَ بِلَادِ إِلَى اللَّهِ أَسْوَاقُهَا. The most beloved places to Allah are the places that are the masjids that have been designated for you to come to. And it's a part of your life. Are you not a real Muslim? I don't say you're a kafir, but the Muslim is a person who is connected to the masjid to the best of his ability. Sab'atun yadhilluhumullah. 7 people will be shaded under the shade of Allah. That shade is provided for by the arsh of Allah, Yawmul Qiyamah. And one of those people is the man whose heart was connected to the masjid. So the most beloved places to Allah are the masajid. Mecca, Medina, Bayt al-Maqdis, and all the other masjids in those 3 countries. Or those 3 cities. Wherever a masjid is, no matter how big it is, no matter how small it is, if that's a place where the people are going to make sajda, then that's the most beloved to Allah. And the most hated places to Allah are the aswaq, the places where people do business, in the marketplace. It's clear why the masjid is the most beloved place to Allah, as He mentioned in the Quran. وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. The masjid is for Allah. Don't call on anybody in those masjids other than Allah. When you come to the masjid, you are clear why you've been created. No one sitting here in his right mind is thinking about what's the next pair of glasses I'm going to buy. No one here is thinking about what's the next pair of shoes I'm going to buy. No one is thinking about where are my car keys right. No one's thinking about that. You're listening to the khutbah that Allah made wajib upon you, and you're listening to why you've been created. This is what the masjid does. As for the aswaq, Allah hates that place because the ashabul aswaq, those of us who work in the suq, they're lying, yakdhabun, they swear all the time, they're stealing, they're selling to people faulty products. Everything about the dunya is jamming them up. Alhaakumut takathur, that's his situation. Mutual getting money, buying things, selling things, he became forgetful, negligent about why he was created. So he's working in the suq. As a result of that, he's stealing people's money. He's selling them what's not real, it's a fault, it's something that's fake. As for the people, all of us who have to go to the suq, when we go to the suq, we don't know how to behave in the suq. We mix with women, we also swear, we also lie. The man goes to the suq with his credit card and he buys something that is haram for him to buy. Haram because it's with credit, it's with riba. He goes to the suq with his credit card, he buys something, he has the ability to buy it, but he wants to spread out the payments. But he buys that which is above his ability. And Allah, la yukallifu nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah doesn't make it difficult for you, your life. So those are the most hated places to Allah. The point here is, Masjid al-Masjid, Masjid al-Masjid, Masjid al-Masjid, especially for you young brothers. I sit in a class or a place that people ask me, what's your religion? I tell them my religion is al-Islam. Right away, al-Islam is my religion. Part of that means I'm connected to the masjid. As much as I can, be connected to the masjid. So the Nabi of Islam, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, in the beginning of his da'wah, he was in the most important place of the masjid, the most important masjid on the earth, which is Mecca, the house of Allah, Baytullah. Every masjid is called Baytullah, tashrifan to that thing. Baytullah, Kitabullah, Rasulullah, Ibadullah, because that's respect. You get honor from that nisbah. The best place from Allah's houses. He mentioned in the Quran, وَأَهِدْنَا إِلَىٰ إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَإِسْمَائِيلَ أن طهر بيتي للطائفين والعاكفين وركع السجود. Allah commanded and told Ibrahim and Ismail, purify my house in Mecca so that the people can go around and tawaf, so that people can make etiquette in there, so that people can make ruku and sujood and salat and all of that stuff. It's the Bayt of Allah. When he was there, those idols were there. And he wasn't able to establish the masjid the way it's supposed to be established in the life of the Muslim. The masjid is not what many of us think it is. 4 walls that we come in, we bump our nuggets on the floor, we get out, we bounce, and that's it. That's not the masjid that the Prophet built, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As a matter of fact, if that's the only masjid, then the people are muqassirun. If that's what their masjid is, they fall short of the mark. When the Nabi could not establish the masjid in al-Islam and in the everyday lives of the Muslims in Mecca, it was commanded, everybody got to get up and leave. Everybody has to leave Mecca. If you're a real Muslim at that time, you have to get up and leave. So that's what they did. They all got up and left. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, family by family, and so forth and so on. Until everybody was in Medina, except the ones who are the mustad'afun, from the women and the children. When the Prophet arrived in Medina, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what was the first thing that he did? Did he get married? No. Did he make alliances with the Jews, with the Christians of Medina? No, he didn't do any of that. The very first thing he did after resting for a few days was, he told the community, let's build that masjid. Let's build that masjid. Because from that masjid, many things are going to happen. From that masjid, the people are going to be taught their religion. From that masjid, we're going to be able to express our brotherhood. From that masjid, we're going to be able to take care of our community, the same way the Jews do in their synagogues, the same way the Christians do He built that masjid, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. And that masjid was not his masjid and Masjid al-Nabawi, but it was another masjid called Masjid Khutbah. لمسجد أسس على التقوى من الله من أول يوم أحق أن تقوم فيه رجال يحبون أن يتطهروا والله يحب المطهرين. Allah mentioned that masjid in the Quran. There is a masjid, Ya Muhammad, Ya Ummat al-Islam. From the very first day that masjid was built, it was built upon the taqwa of Allah. It wasn't built upon asabiyah. It wasn't built upon qawmiyah. It wasn't built upon jahl. It wasn't built upon a madhab. It wasn't built upon hizbiyah. It was built upon a taqwa min Allah. It's more rights that you stand in that masjid. In that masjid, Allah said, are some men who love to be purified. And Allah loves purity, at-tahara. What's the tahara? The tahara is a tawheed. A tahara is calling the people to taqwa. A tahara is having wudu and ghusl. Everybody sitting here has ghusl. The haqq of the masjid on this day. Everybody here has that. The kids who are here, while they were preparing themselves at home to come, everybody made the tartib in their house. You go in the shower first, and then you, and you, and you. Hurry up, let's go. The haqq of the masjid. But the most important tahara is the tahara of a tawheed. What about that masjid? In that masjid is a dead person, as you have in the Muslim world. The wali from the awliya of Allah, he's been buried in that masjid. And Nabi from the anbiya of Allah, Zayn, he's in that masjid. The masjid where the people come and they throw pennies and quarters and money asking the dead people, give me this and give me that. That masjid is like how Mecca was. How Mecca was. When the Prophet was in Mecca, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Kaaba, and the people were not worshiping Allah with a tawheed. In that masjid are men who love purity, and they love being purified. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He loves at-tahara. So as it relates to Mecca, and this is important, when He could not establish the masjid the way it was supposed to be supported, Allah called those kuffar out, and He warned us of being like them. And He stated in the Quran, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ مَنْ أَظْلَمْ مِمَّنْ مَنَعَ مَسَاجِدَ اللَّهِ أَنْ يُذْكَرَ فِيهَا اسْمُهُ وَسَعَى فِي خَرَابِهَا. Who is worse? Who has more dhulm? People have dhulm, a lot of dhulm. Stealing money is dhulm. Taking money from kuffar and lying to get that money is dhulm. Taking the money of orphans is dhulm. Not giving our wives their mahar is dhulm. Talking out without knowledge is dhulm. Being arrogant, dhulm. Being bad to your mother and your father is dhulm. The ayah said, وَمَنْ أَظْلَمُ. Who is more oppressive than the one who stops the people from going to the masajid of Allah in order to make the dhikr of Allah, and they try to destroy that masjid. This is one of the many dalils of the Quran that show us the khubth of Ahlul Kitab, the evil of the Zionist Jews, the evil of their apartheid regime. Their democracy is the biggest hypocrisy that I've ever seen in my life. One of us wants to go to Bayt al-Maqdis, and we want to honor the hadith that the salat in Bayt al-Maqdis is worth 500 prayers. 250 prayers, not 500. 250. So we go to that blessed land. When you arrive there, because that place is under the authority of the oppressors, they take your passport. They see that your name is Mujahid. Your mother, your father named you Mujahid. You're not an extremist. You're not a terrorist. He called you, your father named you that. Raja'in, asking Allah, make my son a Mujahid. You make jihad against his nafs. Make jihad and be strong. His name is Shuja', the brave one. He comes from a family. He has nothing to do with his family's name. His family's name is Abu Rab. He originally comes from Palestine, but he grew up in the UK. He goes and he wants to go and pray in that masjid. That's all. They say to him, you can't come here. You can't get in. Why can't I get in? What happened to democracy? The Zionist Yehuda are a problem. That ayat is applicable to them. They stop people from going to the Masjid of Allah and they seek to destroy it. But that ayat is just not for the Kuffar Quraysh. That ayat tantabiqu on some Muslims. They stop people from going to the Masjid of Allah. The boy or the girl, they start to practice. The mother and the father grew up and they were liberal. They didn't know anything about the deen. Now the girl wants to wear hijab. She wants to come to the masjid. They say you can't go. The masjid itself doesn't give any facility for the lady to come to learn her religion. How many masajid of the Muslims, it is discouraged. The women are told, don't come to the masjid. And the Prophet told the people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, la tamna'u ama Allah min masajidillah. Don't stop the handmaidens of Allah, the women, from coming to the masjid. Umar ibn Abdullah bin Umar, his son's wife was being prevented from going to the masjid. His son Bilal, her husband said, you can't go. I'm jealous, I want you to stay in the house. Masjid is not for the lady. The lady went and told her son's father, Abdullah bin Umar. He said, the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, don't stop your women from going to the masjid. He said, I'm still gonna stop her. I'm jealous, I don't want her in the masjid. I don't want people to see her. He said, I told you that Rasulullah said something. You tell me you still gonna go against it? He said, Wallahi, I'll never speak to you again. I will never speak to you again. And he never spoke to that boy until he died. Never spoke to him. When he was on his bed dying, the son came to get al-Usamah, to get an afu from his father. Everyone was coming, giving him, dua, trying to give him feedback. When his son came, Abdullah bin Umar turned over. Don't even want to talk to him. Made hajr. Why? Because the boy swore he's going to go against the sunnah. So here our community is. We don't allow the women to come to the masjid. Not on the Eid, not for Friday, not for anything. As long as the woman wants to come in the correct way, that's her haq. And it's not the haq of the husband, the father, the son, the brother to stop her. Now, of course, there's fiqh in that, and I'm just making a point. And that is, the masajid of Allah, they belong, and the access of them should be for everybody. As for the Muslims who prevent the people from coming to the masjid, they are those people who their religion is al-khatam, al-yarmi, khurafat, shirkiyat, innovation. This is the month of Rajab. We're going to do the celebration of al-Isra wal-Mi'raj, Salatul Raghaib. We're going to do all this stuff. But there's a masjid that doesn't do that, and that masjid warns against that. So the mother, the father, the people say don't go to that masjid. That's the masjid of the Wahhabis. What is the Wahhabi masjid? It is the masjid of Al-Wahhab. It is Allah's masjid. You're stopping the people from going to the masajid of Allah. So brothers and sisters in Al-Islam, the masjid that the Prophet brought to the attention of the people is the masjid for people to be educated, called to the religion. When Rasulullah died, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Umar radiallahu anhu was upset. He said, anybody who says he died, I'm gonna kill you. You're a munafiq. Because he couldn't get his head around Rasulullah died. It was tough on him, heavy. When Abu Bakr came to the masjid, where everyone was sitting, the place when there was a mushkila, the Muslims went to the masjid. When you want to send the army out, come to the masjid. You give somebody money, come to the masjid. Pay me my money, in the masjid. You want to get married, you want to make the aqd, in the masjid. When the Prophet died, where were the people? They were in the bustan in Medina. They were in the masjid, sitting down, trying to figure out what's going on. Umar said, anybody who says Rasulullah died, chop your head off. You're a munafiq. Abu Bakr came out after making the tahqiq that he's dead. Radiyallahu anhu. He came and he said to Umar, Ya ayyuha al-halif, ijlis, swearing that the person, he wasn't listening. Umar, from his hikmah, Abu Bakr knew, you can't talk to someone who's like that. Someone died, they're not listening, they're emotional. Leave them. He came he got on the second step of Rasulullah's mimbar. The mimbar in the masjid, it has ahkam. This thing is not here just to be here. This is from what the Nabi left us, and in it is ahkam. When Abu Bakr stepped on that second step, everybody saw it. The optic of it calmed the people down. They said something is big right now about to happen because no one ever stepped on this mimbar during his time. It's a place for the wasa'il of a ta'lim. Just standing on it made everybody sit down. And then what did Abu Bakr do? He did what the masjid is for. He started teaching the people, oh, you people, whoever worships Muhammad, Muhammad is dead. And whoever worships Allah, Allah lives and he never dies. And then he started reading those ayat. إِنَّكَ مَيِّتٌ وَإِنَّهُمْ مَيِّتُونَ. You're going to die, Muhammad, they're going to die. Abu Bakr, while doing that, Umar fell to the ground. Fell to the ground. That's the masjid in Islam. The masjid is not a place for Asabi and Qawmiya. This is the masjid of the Libyans. This is the masjid of Pakistanis. This is the masjid of the Sudanese. Now, I have no problem. I'm African American. In my community, we built our masjid. That's our masjid, Allah's masjid. We built it. But although we built it, when a white brother who used to be a Jew, when he accepts Islam and comes to the masjid, we have to say to him with our tongues and our condition, Marhaban bika ya akhi ya Abdullah. Some of these masjids give you the feeling they don't want you in that masjid because it's a Pakistani masjid. This is a Libyan masjid. And I don't mean to put the countries down. This is the reality. It's no Pakistani masjid. Birds of a feather flock together, no problem. You started that masjid, we respect that. You're from the Sabiqeen al-Awwaleen, we respect that. This ain't the masjid of the family, the first family, or the Shura. A bunch of old Shura members. May Allah bless our Kibar Sin, all of them. They started the masjid 25, 30 years ago. We respect that. We respect that, what they did. This is not your masjid anymore. This is 2023. And you old men don't have a clue as to what we're dealing with. No disrespect. That's the reality of our community. A number of old Shura members can't even understand our Shabab, and they don't understand them. And thus, the khutbahs in the language our kids can't understand. Don't stop the people from the Masjid of Allah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. الحمد لله حمدا كثيرا وطيبا مباركا فيه. Allah Ta'ala has mentioned in many of the ayat of the Quran about the Masjid and many of the ahadith that come to us about the do's and the don'ts of the masjid. On the Friday, the Prophet was giving the khutbah. The man came and he sat down without praying 2 rakats. He said, did you pray 2 rakats? The man said, no. He said, get up and pray them real quickly. You should not sit down if you come to the masjid on Friday, other than Friday, before giving the masjid its rights. And as I speak right now, we know there are people coming and sit down because you didn't know. Did you pray 2 rakats Sulayk? He said no. If he was Hazir and Nazir, if he knew the ilm al-ghayb, he wouldn't ask that question. How are you going to teach in the masjid? He knows the ilm al-ghayb. Just ask the man, did you pray 2 rakats ya Sulayk? No, ya Rasulullah. Get up, pray 2. Make it quick. There are do's and don'ts in the masjid, mentioned in the Quran, mentioned in the Sunnah. From Allah described the masjid with, in his book, إنما يعمر مساجد الله من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة ولم يخشى إلا الله فعسى أولئك أن يكونوا من المهتدين. Verily, the people who should take care of the masajid are those people who believe in Allah on the last day. And those people who establish salah and they give the zakat. And they're the people who fear Allah. They don't feel democracy. They don't fear kuffar who telling them, hey, come on, you're in America now. You're in Europe now. Make your masjid like our masjid. No, our masjid is not like yours because our deen is not like yours. Your place is a ma'bud. That's where someone or something is being worshipped. This is a masjid, the Ismul Makan, the place where Muslims come and make sajda for their Lord. Our masjid is not like your church. The masajid should be taken care by those people who believe in Allah the last day, those people who make salat, they give zakat, and they are fearful of Allah. It may be, and it is hope, that those are the people who will be from those who are guided. So I want to say all of that to close this khutbah to say, as you can see with the eyes that Allah has blessed you with and the intellect that you have the ability to contemplate and see, we're trying to extend this masjid for who? For Abu Usamah? For the Shura? For Pakistanis? For Arabs? No. We're trying to leave a legacy here to make this masjid so that the people can come and worship their Lord. And it requires the help and the assistance, first and foremost, of Allah. Ma sha Allah kan wa ma lam yasha lam yakun. Not gonna happen. But after that, we're asking you people to step forward and help us with this masjid. Don't see the work going on in the masjid and you just keep coming, going, and you don't see you have some responsibility to help this situation. So that's what we are calling you out to. Now, the next thing about this masjid is we got to deal with the issue of the carpets in this masjid. And it's going to cost quite a bit of money. Not because the masjid is spectacular. From the don'ts of the masjid is one of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is that the Muslims make the zukhruf of the masjid. Big chandeliers, the Quran is going to be written all across the wall, and the carpet is done. And that's not our masjid. That's not our masjid. We're going to keep it simple as possible, but nonetheless, we need your help that on this khutbah, this Friday and the upcoming Fridays, we need your assistance, inshallah ta'ala, to get on with this work. May Allah ta'ala give us the tawfiq, inshallah, and the inayah al-ilahiyah, the cause, the work in this masjid to be complete. And may He accept from us our religion and establish us firmly upon the kitab and the authentic sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Aqim as-salat yarhamakumullah.